2 weeks ago, I was having dinner alone. I grabbed the sauce bottle, it slipped, it fell on the ground, and I felt this uncontrollable rage exploding inside me over a sauce bottle. And that's when I knew AI had broken me. Here's the thing. 6 months ago, I was the most productive I'd ever been in 20 years of software engineering. I was coding in languages I'd never learned, shipping features 10 times faster, running multiple projects in parallel. I felt like I had a superpower. So how did I go from peak of my career to nearly burning out? When I started agentic programming with Claude Code, I made the same mistake most engineers make. I micromanaged the AI. I was still thinking like a CPU. One task, deep focus, high technical detail. That's how software engineers have been trained for decades. You load a complex problem into your head, you stay in the zone, you don't get interrupted, and you grind until it's done. A good CPU handles complicated tasks fast, and that was me for 20 years. But then something clicked. I stopped being technical. I started describing problems in plain English instead of specifying file path, function names, implementation details, and suddenly I could run 5, 6, 7 agents in parallel. I became a GPU. Simple instructions, massive parallelism. And the productivity was unreal. I could build in Rust, in Go, in technologies that were completely beyond my reach before. Then I switched from keyboard to voice. It sounds like a simple detail, but this is what was the most dangerous unlock of all. When you start talking to your computer instead of typing, something changes in your brain. You can't say go to file /documents /project /src /blah blah blah. That doesn't work with voice. So it forces you to think in simpler terms, to describe what you want in natural language. And that's way more relaxing for the brain, which means context switching becomes effortless, which means parallelizing becomes effortless. But it also means you can work anywhere now. During lunch, during dinner, while watching TV with your laptop open, talking to it in a low voice, and the friction of starting and stopping work, the thing that used to protect engineers from overworking, it completely disappeared. See, when you work the old way, the CPU way, that's efforts to get in the zone in the morning. You have to reload the entire domain model from the day before. It takes time. And at the end of the day, there's inertia to stopping. Your brain keeps spinning for a while, but eventually it winds down and you're free. Those frictions that I thought were a bug were actually a feature. They created a natural boundary. When you start using a voice with AI tools, those boundaries, they disappear. And that means that I could start jumping into a task in 3 seconds from a coffee shop, from my dinner table, from my bed. My brain never turned off, and I didn't even notice. Which brings me back to that dinner, the famous sauce bottle incident. I went from completely stable to this massive rage in a split second over nothing. And because I'd had burnout before, real burnout, where you lose interest in everything, including your passions, where you become cynical, aggressive, disconnected from the people you love, because I'd been through that, I recognized the early warning signs. I had a long conversation with my wife that night, and I had to admit something I'd never expected to say. I'm addicted to AI. I'm a workaholic. I always have been. And these tools, agentic programming combined with voice, they didn't just enable my workaholism, they supercharged it. The tool I always dreamed of having is the thing I now have to learn to control. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, just close the laptop, go outside. It's not that complicated, isn't it? And you're right, in theory. But here's what's harder than it sounds. With the old way of working, stopping was built in. You had to physically disengage from complex context. The cost of restarting was high, so once you stopped, you stay stopped. With voice plus AI, I can start a task in 3 seconds from my dinner table. The barrier to not working is now higher than the barrier to working. And that's what makes this different from regular workaholism. On top of that, I moved to Bali recently. I have no friends here yet. The social frictions that used to pull me away from work, the banter with colleagues, the lunches, the random interruptions, that safety net is gone. So there's nothing external stopping me and nothing internal stopping me either. And that's the trap. But this is not just about me, because I think what happened to me is about to happen to millions of engineers. Companies are already freezing headcount. The next step is reducing it, and the engineers who stay will be the ones who are great at agentic coding, the ones who can do the work of 3, 5, 10 people, and the workload on those people quietly, steadily increase until it completely becomes unmanageable. At the beginning, they'll feel productive, they'll feel powerful, they'll think, wow, I can do so many things now, my life is amazing. And they won't notice the burnout creeping in until a sauce bottle moment hits them. Because that's how it works. It's pernicious. You don't see it coming. The very thing that makes you feel like a superhero is the thing that is slowly breaking you. So here are 3 warning signs that AI might be burning you out. 1. You can't eat a meal without thinking about your next prompt. Your brain is always running. Dinner, lunch, watching a movie, there's always a task in the background. 2. Trivial things trigger disproportionate reactions. A spilled sauce, a slow Wi-Fi connection, a minor bug. If small frustrations make you want to scream, your nervous system is overloaded. 3. You feel guilty when you're not using AI, like you're wasting time, like every minute away from the terminal is a minute of productivity lost, and that guilt is the addiction talking. So here's what I'm going to do about it, and that's my take on it, and I guess you guys will have to find your own framework. But 1, I'm having a hard cutoff. Laptop closed by 10 p.m. No exception. Not, I just finished this one thing. Closed, done. 2, physical anchor. I walk my dog every morning for 20 minutes before any screen time. The body has to move before the brain starts prompting. I also try to head to the gym more often now. And finally, 3, and probably the most important, I'm gonna have to try to rebuild my social network here. So, not optional thing, not when I have time. I have to schedule calls with my friends, trying to allocate time to see them, meeting new friends, and trying to rebuild my social life here in Bali. And that's going to take effort, but it's the most important thing I can do for my long-term productivity and my own sanity. If you felt any of this, the inability to stop, the brain that never turns off, the guilt when you're not prompting, tell me in the comments. I don't think I'm the only one, and I think we need to talk about it before it becomes an industry-wide problem. You can also find me on X. The links is below this video, and I'd love to hear your experience. I'm obviously obsessed with AI. I love it. It's the tool I always dreamed of. And now I'm in this weird situation where I have to learn to control the thing I love the most. I'll keep you updated on the journey. Cheers, and thanks for watching.